Quality Media presents The Mike and Mo Show. Now here are your hosts, Mike Calandrillo and Maurice Moten. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, episode 23, the great Michael Jordan of The Mike and Mo Show. Here we are back. Brand new week, big things going on in the world of sports. We're going to have plenty to get to as the Pokemon craze sweeps the nation, maybe even the world. I don't know what's going on outside right now. It's kind of crazy. But a lot going on. Mo, welcome to the show. Give us a rundown. What's going on today?
We got a lot of rule tweaks. For some reason, this episode is going to be the rule tweak edition. We got NFL potential rule tweaks. We got MLB considering things. We got Phil Jackson throwing in some NBA tweaks that he made that he would probably enact if he were Adam Silver. I don't necessarily agree with them, but it is Phil's thoughts. He's the Zen master. He can say what he wants. But we're going to start with some MLB news that could shock. I shouldn't say shock the world, but it's more of like a window dressing issue. MLB is considering shortening their 162-game season to 154 games, to which I say, who cares, because it's only 8 games. The MLB season is long. We all know that. There's nothing they can do. Once you open Pandora's box to expanding a season, it's very hard to take it back because then players lose money and their contracts are tied to this, to the games that are played. So, in effect, I see this as Apple selling a computer for $3,000 and they're saying, hey, we're going to cut down the price. We care about the people. We want the people to be able to afford our product. So we're going to cut it down from $3,000 to $2,850. So you save about $150. And
deal.
To that, I would say, thanks, but that's not really that big of a dent in it. So with this whole baseball thing, I understand they're trying to get the younger crowd who has, attention deficit disorder issues of watching baseball games because they're a lot slower paced. Mm-hmm. But there's not much MLB can do, again, because contracts are tied to this. You're going to have over 100 games of inventory. And the game is what it is. And there's only so much you can do with it to get people to watch. I would say they should pay attention more so to the pace of the game versus the length of the season. And also tweak when the playoffs actually kick off and start.
Commissioner Rob Manfred is trying to tweak the game, and it's funny. Last night, before the Yankees went out and lost, unfortunately, CC Sabathia was the CC Sabathia of old. The Yankees couldn't make it 5 in a row, but we'll save that for another time. Joe Girardi was asked the same question. What do you feel? Is this making sense? Well, what is this all about? And because one of the new things now is Manfred even wants to possibly institute a rule where you can only bring in so many relief pitchers per game. You can only make so many trips to the mounds per game, which they've already begun to institute last season. And Joe Girardi said, it's kind of crazy. Like we're gonna completely change the way the game is played. It doesn't make sense. It's like, and he joked. He's like, you want to shorten the game, make it 7 innings, instead of being 9 innings. Because how do you go about changing a game that's been played for 100 years here in, America? All of a sudden you want to completely change the way it's played. It's tough. I'm always the guy that's like, yeah, it's too long of a season. We need to change it. But like you said, what is 8 games? At the end of the day, 8 games. It's not enough. 20 games, maybe. Okay, let's go to 142 games. But the biggest problem about this is the players, the pay. If you tell a guy, like you said, great analogy, if you tell a player he's going to play less games, then the owner's going to say, we want to pay you less money. Understandable. So what kind of player, and these guys, I think a guy like Giancarlo Stanton gets paid $20,000 a game, something absurd like that. If you tell a guy you're going to lose $1 million because you're gonna take X amount of games away, he's not gonna be okay with that. That's $1 million. It's $500,000, whatever it might be. So a player's gonna say, well, you know what? Don't take away these games. I'll just sit out an extra 8 games during the season. So I'll wake up today and I'll say, hey coach, my arm, my leg, I got diarrhea, whatever you want to possibly say. He's gonna say, I'm not gonna play today because I am not going to lose that amount of money, and it's understandable. These are guaranteed contracts, not like the NFL where I cut you and that money is no longer yours. No, this is something that Major League Baseball put into effect long ago, that you get every single dollar that you sign for. It's crazy. It is. It's kind of, it's, you can liken it to the NFL now with their guaranteed money when they give you $70 million guaranteed, or Andrew Luck gets $80 million. It's crazy, but it is what it is. So you got to take it from where the players are. Their understanding is, hey, it's my money. I signed this contract. Now you want to change the way the game is presented. Yeah, I understand that the owners want to give you less money, but yeah, that's a pretty big gray area, and I don't see it happening anytime soon.
I don't see it happening anytime soon because you have the people who like baseball, really, really like baseball, like the baseball aficionados, are a lot older than you, Mike, and they're not going to be used to wanting to change any part of the game. And I agree with you. I would say you can't really take away a substantial amount of games to make it appealing to people. Say, okay, we're cutting it down to 140 or 130 games. It's still a long season. It's a big difference, but if you're gonna try to get people to watch, I would say you're going to have to shorten the length of the actual game. Just make it, as you said, 7 innings. And Rob Manfred was on Mike and Mike's show, and that came up. And, they were saying maybe you just shorten the innings, as you said, 7 innings is long enough, because they're trying to compact the game and make it move a lot quicker. And that's why they also threw out the whole pitch clock, a 20-second pitch clock on the mound. So they obviously trying to speed things up because they see hockey, they see NFL, they see NBA. Everything is so fast paced, less of a thinking man's game, more of an action game. So MLB is trying to appeal to millennials, but to me, the way the game is designed is not designed for today's millennials to watch. You don't have the marketing power the NFL and NBA have. As we spoke on a previous episode, the draft is like 50, 60, 100 rounds long, so no one's going to sit there and watch that. So you rely on the actual product on the field when people tune into the game or when they go to the stadium and watch. And you want to, if it's not a lot of action, you want it to go quicker rather than slower because you want people in and out and say, okay, we have this compact action for maybe 2 hours. You get to see Bryce Harper, you get to see your favorite team, and it goes quickly. You go home, next game, because there are 100 and plus more games left to watch. So MLB really has a problem. Rob Manfred's going to really have to think about how he's going to tweak it. I don't see this whole shortening season working. Even if it does go down to 154 games, who cares? Again, still a long season. You still have to worry about the pace of the game, the actual game when people are watching. So, big problem. I also mentioned earlier that the postseason should start a month earlier. And I say this because right now you have it, I guess, late October, early November. At that time, the NBA season is starting up. You're in the heart of the NFL season. I mean, think about it. This year, you're going to be running to the TV to watch the Knicks. You want to see Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah. You want to see the new look Knicks and how they look. So you may turn it off of baseball real quick. Unless you're a Mets fan and they're in the World Series, you're going to be watching the Knicks if you're in New York. So it's a big problem with timing. I mean, the MLB there's only so much they can do. They run from April to October, November. It's a long season. You shorten it at least a little bit, maybe a few more games. Get the postseason somehow to start a little earlier, and you'll have a lot more eyes on your product.
Yeah, it's tough because the way baseball is now, it starts obviously in Florida or Arizona with spring training, and when all the teams head back to wherever they may play, the majority are still either in the East Coast or the North, somewhere where it's still cold. So it's tough to start it any earlier, and then if you go later, it's basically winter. So most of the places you're going to be playing, it's going to be snow on the field, or it's going to be crappy weather, which does change the way the game is played in general. So it's tough to change the calendar of baseball. It's kind of perfect where it is because you can't really move it unless you said everybody's going to start their regular season at their spring training game facilities in Arizona or Florida. But the owners aren't going to want that because those stadiums hold maybe 10,000 people. So they're going to lose money. So they're not going to be for that. I mean, the thing is, baseball has been 162 games since 1960. It used to be 154 games. So this isn't anything new. But TV revenues have changed. The Yankees didn't have the Yes Network. So everybody wants a bigger piece of the pie. And unfortunately, you can't have everything. I mean, I understand baseball wants to get sharper. It wants to appeal to more people that are young. It wants to speed up the process. But if you've ever been to a game or if you ever played the game of baseball, you understand that it's not a game that can be played with a shot clock. It cannot be played with a timer. It's just not that type of game. It's a slower paced game. It's not for everyone, and that's fine. Those people can go play other sports, and that's the beauty of it. You have a choice. But even when I play on a Monday night softball team and it's only an hour game, I hate the fact that it's an hour game because it does change the way that you approach it. So for the baseball purists, it's not a great idea. I'm all for shortening, but if you're going to shorten it, you have to do something drastic, and it has to be approved by all parties. This isn't a Roger Goodell thing where we're just going to say, nope, 154 games, you have no choice. Stick with it or die. I mean, it's just not going to happen. So, a good idea in theory, but I don't see it ever catching legs because the MLBPA is a very strong players association. We've seen it through the years with the lockouts. We've seen it through the years with guaranteed contracts. So, good luck. Let me know when this happens, but until then, I'll be watching my 3-hour games.
You heard it there. Mike is saying, all you little snot-nosed kids, he doesn't care if you watch the game or not. You can go watch NBA, NFL, because he likes his baseball. He likes his 3-hour games.
And get off my lawn.
No problem, and he would like to keep it the way it is.
Yep.
So all you millennials, go do your thing. Go play Pokemon Go if you want. Baseball doesn't need you.
Yeah, just don't do it while you're driving because I think that's going to be the next serious thing. People Pokemoning and driving, please do not do that.
Pokemoning and driving could be an actual skill, but we'll touch on that probably later on.
Yeah, oh boy. But that is it for the opening rant. We'll be right back with Open Mic. We're going to talk a little bit of everything. We'll be right back. Open Mic. It is official. The state of North Carolina has officially lost the 2017 NBA All-Star Game. Now, some people will complain and say anything they want because people just like to complain. Others will say that it's not a big deal because it's just the NBA All-Star Game and North Carolina's got bigger fish to fry, whether it's in the form of potentially losing NCAA basketball, first round, second round games of the tournament. NASCAR speaking out against this. But Mo, bottom line, does this affect North Carolina, and is Michael Jordan still crying about it?
It does affect North Carolina because people have to understand when these all-star games come to certain cities, states, it helps them financially. So, North Carolina and Charlotte, they wanted this. And unfortunately, because their H2 bill kind of omits the LGBT community, the NBA said, hey, we don't have to do business here if we don't agree with what, the laws that are in place there. So that's the NBA's standpoint from it. They have a right to move their product to another city state if they so choose. What I would suggest is that if they're choosing a new place to have it, they should move it to Cleveland, home of the champs.
Beautiful Cleveland.
What has Cleveland had in the last, decade? So give Cleveland some love and put the All-Star game out there. I say it's a good alternative. The NBA is actually considering New Orleans, and New Orleans already had the All-Star game in 2008 and 2014. We need to change up the flavor a little bit. Again, I know Cleveland is going to be cold in February, but the team just won a championship, and you want to, give that city some love because they don't really get much. Joe Kimino spoke out against Cleveland as to say, what's in Cleveland? Well, it could be the All-Star game in 2017 if the NBA so chooses.
Yeah, I mean, the NBA All-Star Game is indoors. It's in a giant arena. It's not like, I don't know, you don't need to worry about everything surrounding the area. And Cleveland's got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and, that time of year, there's probably ice skating. So, I mean, there's some things to do. I mean, it is what it is. But, yeah, give Cleveland a shot. Like you said, New Orleans has had it. The other cities that were possibly in the mix were New York, which has had it a bunch, whether it's at Brooklyn or at the Garden, and Chicago. I don't think Chicago's had it in a couple of years. But you know what? Can you imagine Chicago off the lake in February, the type of weather that they would potentially have? Yeah, no, thank you. So, the actually idea that I had, and I don't know if the NBA would be willing to do it, is bring it back to, and you're gonna laugh, but hear me out before you do it. Bring it back to Orlando.
Oh my God! No, this is coming.
No, but wait, there's a reason. There's a reason. My reasoning is that this is obviously this is a big thing. This is an LGBT issue, and the fact of what Orlando as a city went through, in the past couple of months with the Pulse nightclub shooting, which was obviously directed at a certain lifestyle, certain people were targeted. Why not bring it back to Orlando? And yes, we had it a couple of years ago, but bring it to Orlando and show, that the NBA is obviously they're united in their front. They're doing something. They pulled it out of North Carolina for a reason. So put it in Orlando, where a place where the community is still trying to come together and grieve. It's just solidarity. It just kind of brings it full circle, and that is why I think it should be in Orlando, not because I just want to go to an All-Star game.
Yeah, I mean, we brought up this proposition a few episodes ago. I believe Russillo and Cannell had that, or was it? No, it was actually Jalen and Jacoby. I'm sorry, from ESPN. Jalen and Jacoby actually offered this proposition to have it in Orlando after the Pulse shooting happened.
Yeah,
it makes sense. But again, I just feel like either one, Cleveland or Orlando, both good choices, whatever they choose. But again, they're looking at New Orleans, I guess, because, it's a party atmosphere. So the NBA wants to be festive and have it there, which is okay, because then it would probably be hosted by Buddy and the Brow. I know my buddy in Indiana would like that, Laura. She loves Buddy, and she had the Buddy and the Brow type of host type of she actually brought up that proposition before, which would be pretty cool. Again, but whatever the NBA decides, I'm cool with it. Even if they bring it back to New York, that'll be cool. Barclays Center, Madison Square Garden. But I feel bad for Charlotte, North Carolina, because there are good people out there. People are gonna paint this area as, oh, you can't go there. It's backwards. It's the South, But it's the government. You have the people you put in office. You have to vet them and see what they stand for and what they're gonna do once they get in office for the people. And apparently, the LGBT community, which is being targeted lately, is just even on the presidential side with Republicans. That's a whole different story with Donald Trump, but that community has been targeted for a lot, and I guess it's time to put your arms around them, and instead of pushing them away and treating them like second-rate citizens. As far as Jordan is concerned, I know he's probably pissed about this, because having an All-Star game with your around your franchise, it's a big move, but it's not stopping him as an individual. He's going to drop a new shoe on September 3rd. It's going to be $185.
Woo.
So I know he's going to be happy about that. It has the word ban at the bottom of the shoe, because at the time, then Commissioner Russ Granick sent a letter to Nike saying that the shoes violated the uniform code because of the color, I believe. So he's going to be happy about his shoe. As Michael Jordan said, he's going to get his money regardless. So whether the NBA comes to Charlotte and has the All-Star game or his shoe is dropping, Michael Jordan wins regardless. So I know you're going to see the whole crying meme thing online with Charlotte losing the All-Star game. Won't matter for Michael Jordan.
No, it never will, because he has more money than God. So it's, it is what it is. But moving on, sticking to the NBA, one of my favorite commercials right now, it's not really new, is when Michael B. Jordan is sitting in the trailer with Kobe Bryant. And, Michael B. Jordan is saying, I'm playing you. I'm playing the younger you. And it's funny that this kind of coincides with the fact that Kobe wrote a letter to his younger self. Now, I don't know if he addressed it to Michael B. Jordan exactly, but a little, was it needed? Was it necessary? Is it just Kobe trying to stick, into the narrative of, hey, I'm still Kobe, I'm not going away? I don't know, Mo. Is there a point to this?
There was a point to this, and I think people are taking it from their own prism. There are people saying that, oh, Kobe's being self-centered, he threw his family under the bus. Because basically, okay, just to give background context, basically the letter says, invest in your family, don't give to your family. Basically, he's saying, I made all this money, and I gave my family all the things that they wanted, and it took away their ambition to do their own thing. What I should have done was invest in their hopes and dreams and hope that they can grow their own futures. Now, again, you could take that as him saying, oh, my family didn't do squat once I got famous, I got all this money, and they depended on me. Or you could take it as Kobe writing an open letter to everyone. And this is how I took it, is a warning to everybody, especially in the African-American community. It's always said that once you make it big, you look out for the people who took care of you when you were a kid. Now, that can mean a lot of different things. That can mean giving money. That can mean helping with jobs. That can mean funding certain endeavors. It can mean a lot of things. And a lot of people fall in the trap of giving out their money too freely to people who necessarily don't deserve it or just there to use you. Because family is first. Let's get that straight. Yes, family is first, but there are also family members who are out there to use you for what you have, and they just don't necessarily care about you. They care about what you can do for them. So I feel like this letter was a warning to those people of any type of background. Be careful of who you give your money to when you're young, rich, and famous, because it can go that quick. Luckily for Kobe, he turns out to be one of the best players of all time, so his money will never run out. But for the average, maybe C+, B- player who has a limit to their cash in their bank account, you might want to be careful who you give your money to. So I think that's where he was going with it. But some people seeing Kobe for who he is as being a self-centered person saw it as him saying, I'm still the man, and my family depended on me to be the man to put them through what they needed to go through in their lives to get to where they wanted to get, basically. And I'm still the man. I'm Kobe Bryant. I'm the man of the family. So I took it the other way, and I'm one of the biggest Kobe critics out there.
Yeah, you are.
But again, I felt like this letter was just a warning to everyone. When you're 17, 18, a teenager coming into all of this wealth, just be careful. That's it.
Yeah, I think it's smart. I like it. It's people are always going to be quick to criticize, especially if your name's Kobe Bryant. He did, regardless if you like him or don't like him, he worked hard. He went through a ton of adversity. Sure, he put probably a lot of that on himself. But again, he persevered. He could have washed up many, many years ago and just been another tragic story, but he has seemed to overcome it. Even now in his post-NBA career, he's opened his own entertainment production film company, and he's got future plans. He plans on, not just being another one of those athletes that had his day in the sun and goes out and, you never hear from again. Not that we thought that Kobe would do that, because that's just not his personality. But, who knows? Maybe he'll pop up one day. He was obviously a very smart basketball player. He with that year he missed with the Achilles injury. He was a coach on the sideline. So Kobe can do pretty much anything that Kobe wants to do. And, there's enough negative, which we'll get into the next story. So it's nice to see someone that, is going to pay it forward and try to open some eyes for a new generation coming. And what does it hurt to look back and say, well, maybe had I done things differently, or what I did was exactly what I wanted to do. So be it. You can't fault the guy for that.
Kobe's changing. He actually, Kobe, I feel like Kobe wants to influence the youth. If you watched, Kobe was actually on Nickelodeon where he had, I believe, gold slime.
Yeah.
Can you believe that type of Kobe way back when on the court? Do you think he would actually go to Nickelodeon and get slime with gold slime? Like, that's not the Kobe we're used to seeing on the court.
It's true.
This is a different mentality. It's a different type of person. I think he wants to reach out to the youth, and I think he tried to do that with this letter. But personally, I would have a letter to my 17-year-old self, and this is probably what I would say. Number one, don't take shirtless pics on MySpace. Not a good thing. It'll never do anything good for you. It'll only creep back up to haunt you later on in life.
Seriously.
Number two, don't take jobs near the Whitestone Bridge when you live in Brooklyn. That 2-hour commute, not a good thing. You'll probably wind up going back to your old job. Number three, go to basketball practice at St. John's, because Tyler Ulis was pretty good in the summer league this year, and he's not that much taller than me. I could have did what he could have did, what he's doing now, if I had just went to more St. John's basketball practices. Finally, eat your vegetables. All your vegetables. That's okra, peas, carrots. Eat all your vegetables. I probably would have been taller than 5'7" 3/4, maybe 5'9" 3/4, maybe 5'10", and I would have been a point guard in the NBA right now. Also, stretch daily, because that helps expand your body. A couple more inches there. I would have been maybe 5'11", maybe 6 feet tall. Who knows? But that would be my 17. That would be my ode to the 17-year-old self. Do all of those things. My life is great now, but it would have been a little bit greater if I had done those things.
My letter would have just said, Mike C., just keep being awesome, baby. Just do you every day.
Yeah.
Keep it 100. Just be all that you can be. That's because I'm perfect. So moving on to Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant has gotten nothing but slapback from everybody and anybody. Reggie Miller, Charles Barkley, Maurice Moulton, all of these guys. What? I'm sorry, it just came out of my mouth. So, he's been in the news where, people said he was in bed for a week, and now he says, well, that was a little bit overblown. And it was funny, the other day he's at USA basketball practice and getting interviewed, and everybody's asking him the same questions, blah, blah, blah. Every day you turn on Levitard, it's the same talk. How could he do this? Why did he do this? DeAndre Jordan even made it, he made light of it and said, how come you didn't come to the Clippers? So, I mean, it's funny that they're having a little bit of fun with it, but now we're talking about the fact that Kevin Durant got a Tupac tattoo on his lower leg. Is there a deeper meaning to this, or is it just the fact that he enjoys Tupac Shakur?
That's California love right there.
Yep.
He's with the Golden State Warriors in Oakland. You got to show love to the state where you're in. I mean, you don't have to, but I mean, it was a good gesture by Kevin Durant. I am not a fan of leg tattoos for men. I don't know why. It just seems like a feminine thing, to me. I'm sorry to those people listening to the show with a leg tattoo who were guys.
Hater.
Not really in favor of that, unless it's a small tattoo. But Kevin Durant has his whole calf is a Tupac face, and Tupac looks pretty sad on it. And I laughed because someone made a comment saying even Tupac looks disappointed in KD for his move to Golden State. That made me laugh. But on to Kevin Durant's criticism. If you notice, his harshest critics are people without rings, a.k.a. Reggie Miller, a.k.a. Charles Barkley. And Kevin Durant had a quote saying, basically, and I'm going to paraphrase this because I'm not going to read the whole thing. Basically, he said, these two guys, they have voices in our industry, and whatever they say, it must be true. If Barkley says it, it must be true. If Reggie Miller says it, it must be true. And he says it just feels bigger than what it is. And I agree. It's a guy who chose to go to another team, which he has the freedom to do as an unrestricted free agent. He can do what he wants. I mean, it's not like he wanted out of OKC and pulled a Carmelo Anthony, and people praise Carmelo Anthony for what he did of getting out of Denver to get to New York. And KD actually played out his season. He didn't want any distractions at OKC. He respected the organization not to talk about what he wanted to do at the end of the season, and he waited and he made his decision. What is the problem? Wrote a letter.
What the problem is?
I don't see what the problem is. It is a lot bigger than what it is. Everybody just needs to let it go. Okay, he's playing for Golden State. This is what's going down. Okay, that's it.
That's it. Cut and dry. I want to know what tattoos you got, Maurice Moulton.
Well, if you know what, I don't have any tattoos. I'm more of a clean cut, straight edge type of dude. So I'm not into the whole tattoo thing. But if I were to get a tattoo, this is what I would get. I would get a map of Brooklyn on my back. Yes,
Bed-Stuy, Williamsburg.
50 Cent.
I'm in the middle.
50 Cent has the South Side 50 tattoo on his back. I would do a couple of pull-ups and crunches and all that workout stuff to get my back expanded, and then get a map of Brooklyn right on the middle.
All right, that's cool. I think that'd be a good look. I am afraid of needles, so I don't want to hurt my porcelain skin.
Seriously, Mike?
Yeah, those things, you can get hepatitis, you can get gangrene, you can get a lot of things, okay? And when you are flawless, you do not want to hurt your body with anything like that, so...
Mike, stop being a pansy.
No. I thought about getting one. When my grandfather passed away in his honor, but I don't know. It's I don't know if he would have wanted that. I don't know if my father would beat me because of having a tattoo, being old school Italian. So maybe one day. But the older you get, it seems like people get their tattoos removed. So maybe I've passed that part in my life as I am now in my early 30s. So we'll see. But I don't even know what I would get. I'm a big number guy. Numerals are kind of my thing. Like when my grandfather passed, I thought about getting a 23 because that was his number. So and obviously this is pretty cool because this is episode 23. So numbers are special to me, but a map of Brooklyn, that I'm sure that would be a good look, better on you than I because I'm not from Brooklyn. But regardless, whoever, if you have tattoos, good for you. If not, hey, slap a couple on. You know what? Join a gang. Do whatever you want to do. It doesn't really matter.
You gotta rep your borough. I mean, like I said, you can't just walk around. If I were to get a tattoo, I would have to rep the borough. Either that or I'm not really into putting names on me, as a lot of people are.
Yeah.
I caution against that. But Brooklyn, that'll always be the same. It'll be always the borough, city area where I was born, so it will always have a meaning to me.
Well, I like it. I like it a lot. Moving on to Phil Jackson, another man that wants to change the NBA as we know it. And, you know, a different idea. I don't know if anybody but Steph Curry is all for it, but Phil wants to not only make the shot clock longer, he wants to bring it to, I guess, the NCAA standards. He also wants to implement a 4-point shot from way downtown, bang. Like
Why
what?
not just had a 5-point shot?
Yeah, like Rock and Jock back in the day, like the 25-point shot from like half court. When does it stop? Does it get comical after a while? Because this seems like a bit much.
Is this Barnum and Bailey circus? Like, seriously, like...
Globetrotters.
I mean, I don't see the point. First of all, the longer shot clock, I think it's a shot to help Derrick Rose, because Derrick Rose, 24% of his possessions last year, he had 7+ dribbles on it. So he's probably trying to ease the rules for Derrick Rose. Number two, a longer shot clock will probably cause more 3-and-key violations, defensive 3 seconds, with centers and bigs standing in the paint too long. And the other thing about the 4-point shot is, I think that helps teams like the Golden State Warriors, who have 4 3-point shooters on it. So he's saying that the 4-point shot would close the gap in these blowout games. And I think it can have the opposite effect. If you have a team that doesn't shoot threes versus a team that does shoot threes, you could turn a 30-point blowout into maybe a 50-point blowout if Kevin Durant and Steph Curry start to play horse behind the arc. It's over. And the Knicks only have maybe one consistent, maybe 2 3-point shooters. If you really count Brandon Jennings, and he's not even a high percentage 3-point shooter, how does this rule change, benefit the Knicks at all? I mean, Phil Jackson's probably thinking, maybe we just add a 4-point shot as part of his daily thoughts when he's zenning in his home. But that's not something you want in the NBA, because it can get real ugly, especially with Golden State's lineup.
It's the same thing we talked about baseball. If you change the game, it's going to change other portions of the game. So like you said, 3-and-key. Well, it can't be 3 seconds anymore. It can't be a 5-second inbound. Everything is going to become longer. No longer is it a 10-second to get it over the half court. Now everything is changed. And these players have been ingrained since their days in college or AAU ball to play a certain way. So now everything has to be changed. Like, really? There's going to be a 4-point line? So when you're playing in a college stadium or, those NCAA tournament games, now not only do we have the college line, we have the NBA line, and we have an NBA 4-point line. And then we've got the half-court line. Like, what? Where do you stand? I don't know. It's kind of crazy. It's comical. I'm all for, implementing new and fun ideas and making baseball or basketball fun again, but it has to be to a certain extent. Again, this is something that I'm not really sure where Phil cooked this idea up, but, hey, if you listen to Derrick Rose, he came out today and said that the Knicks are one of the NBA super teams, then I'm all for it, because you know what? According to him, it's only the Knicks and the Golden State Warriors. Nobody else is really relevant in the NBA.
Yeah, just ignore the current champions, the Cleveland Cavaliers and LeBron James.
Who?
That's the smart thing to do, Derrick Rose.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to Phil Jackson, anything that comes out of his mouth, you just kind of pause. And some people think because it's Phil, maybe it could work. Because I saw people say, well, maybe this could work. And I'm like, or maybe not. Maybe Phil is just crazy. Maybe you just want Phil to run your team, but not run the NBA. Because it could be a disaster. I could possibly see the shot clock thing happening, maybe. If the NBA feels that centers are being phased out, but really centers are becoming what they call quote-unquote rim protectors. So people saying, centers are dying. They're not really dying. They just changed the name to rim protectors. So basically when you hear rim protector, that means center. But with the whole 4-point shot, that better never happen. Because then if it does happen, then that reminds me of my junior high school gym class where we had, there's a 3-point shot over here, there's a 4-point shot over here, there's a 5-point shot over here. What are we, in kindergarten? Like, these are professionals. 2s and 3s, that's it.
And 4s, maybe some 5s.
No.
Definitely half a points. Half a points would be awesome. I think we just totally make this game ridiculous. Hey, what the hell? You know what? Times are tough. People need some extra points in their life. Let's just add them in the NBA.
Unless you're the Milwaukee Bucks or the Detroit Pistons or something
Nets, Brooklyn
Philadelphia 76ers, and the Sixers they don't need a 4-point shot. They need the 3-point line to be further inward because they don't have any shooters. So unless you're one of those teams, they would probably be on board with this.
True story.
But if normal teams see this as it's a complete joke. And I guess it was just Phil just having a moment where he's just relaxing, sipping a pina colada, and just talking about NBA rules that he thinks in his mind would benefit the Knicks or just benefit the league in general. In reality, it's just not true.
Phil lives in Montana in the off season. He's a rancher. He does not drink pina coladas. Let's just get that.
I guarantee you Phil drinks pina coladas.
I think you drink pina coladas. That's probably about the truth.
Phil is a pina colada dude. You can look at Phil and tell that he loves soft drinks.
You're erroneous. Erroneous.
Do you see him drinking a root beer? Seriously?
Sarsaparilla, maybe. Yeah. Riding a horse? Yeah, I do actually. Mm-hmm. He's a cowboy. He's a cowboy.
He is not a cowboy. Montana dude.
Yeah.
Montana.
He owns like 7,000 acres of land in Montana.
Yeah, he owns it, but he's just chilling on his porch, just thinking and reading books. That's just Phil Jackson for you.
Sounds lovely. That sounds great. Well, that is it for the open mic. We'll be right back with, of course, building momentum, and we're gonna talk a whole lot of baseball. Be right back. It's now time for building momentum.
So Mike has conspiracy theories, and he has, I guess, an idea to fix the Dodgers as Clayton Kershaw heals, or he's out indefinitely with a bulging disc in his back, and the Dodgers could look to trade and make a huge trade to continue their push for the playoffs. Right now, they're in a wild card spot behind the Giants in their division. But I'll let Mike take it away and tell you guys what the Dodgers could do before the trade deadline to help themselves in the playoffs.
This has just been one huge injury season after the next for the Dodgers. And, obviously when you lose the best pitcher in the game, your chances are slim to none. Now, again, like Mo said, he may or may not be out for the year. It is a bulging disc. I can only imagine the pain that he would be in. Hasn't pitched in almost a month now. He was pitching like Clayton Kershaw always pitches, fantastic. But this is going to be tough. The Dodgers, they're lying in the weeds. They're around, they're 4.5 games out of first. They're closing in on a wild card. They're actually not playing too bad. Even a guy like Justin Turner, ex-Met, hit 2 home runs last night. So, I mean, it's just you cannot lose a 3-time Cy Young winner and think you're going to be fine. So there has been some rumors about what the Dodgers potentially want to do. Most recently is acquiring Chris Archer from the Tampa Bay Rays. Having a horrible year, but I mean, really, who plays for the Tampa Bay Rays besides Evan Longoria? And speaking of Evan Longoria, another name that the Dodgers are potentially interested in adding, even though I just did say Justin Turner actually has 17 home runs on the year, you could shift him to a utility role or maybe bump him to second and sit Chase Utley because, he's not the Chase Utley of old. There's plenty of moves that could be made. But the issue here is that the Dodgers, they still have the #1 farm system in all of baseball, but they're not going to trade a guy like Corey Seager. Maybe Julio Urias, the left-handed pitcher who hasn't been great, but he's only 19 years old. He could be a piece, probably will be a piece, headed back to Tampa if and when this deal goes through. It was about a 70% chance yesterday. Buster Olney said of ESPN, he said it's about 70% chance this deal goes through, which if you listen to the Kevin Durant deal, remember, he was 90% going back to Oklahoma City, so that really doesn't mean a whole lot. But, looking at this deal, an interesting name that could also head back to Tampa could be Yasiel Puig. It's funny, I wrote a piece yesterday on why the Yankees should actually target this guy because he's a trade low candidate. He's having a horrible year. He's batting around 250. He's only got about, 7-8 home runs, 33 RBI. But he's only 25 years old. And yes, he is a physical specimen. Looks like a Greek god out there. Yes, he is also a huge knucklehead. We don't know, if and when he wants to play, how he's feeling today. But at 25, with all that talent, and he has shown the capability to put it all together, probably would be a piece that Tampa Bay would want in return. So you put Puig just to, bring in fans would probably be that. Obviously, it's Florida, so there's a large Cuban contingent. Tampa, probably not so much, but, it's not a horribly far drive from Miami and the like. So you take him, you take Urias, and like I said, they do have the #1 farm system in all of baseball. It would probably take about 2 or 3 more pieces to acquire Archer and Longoria. But again, those two guys to a Dodger team that, let's say they get back Clayton Kershaw, could put them in the running for, to win the National League crown because, let's face it, the Mets are now more games out of first than the Yankees. So,
So why are we taking shots? The Mets segment is next. We're talking about the Dodgers right now. Do we have to go here?
Because I want to. That's just me. But there have been some trades that already have gone down. We did see Drew Pomeranz getting dealt from San Diego to the dreaded Boston Red Sox. They did give up, a single A pitcher, but there's moves being made. So it'll be interesting to see how the Dodgers, or if the Dodgers do anything, because that's the thing with baseball right now, and ever since the implementation of the second wild card, is that it gives more teams the opportunity to make the playoffs. So a lot of teams that aren't necessarily or shouldn't necessarily be thinking they're going to make the playoffs, like the Yankees, do think that they can because there's a second wild card game. So what all that means is that there's less trades like there used to be, way back when before the second wild card game. Because anybody thinks they can make the playoffs. It's a one-game play-in. You get in, who knows? You win that one-game play-in, you're in the divisional series. So crazier things have happened. But, the Dodgers, they have to stay healthy, which is something they have not been able to do all season. So it'll be tough. The Howie Kendrick, who's really a second baseman, isn't left. Jock Peterson's been on and off the DL. Andre Ethier hasn't played at all this year. And now, the pitching staff has been one duct tape job after the next, and losing a guy like Clayton Kershaw is just, it's not going to be easy to overcome. So getting a guy like Chris Archer, who, if he's right and still young enough, could be the top guy of your rotation, especially if Kershaw is out for the rest of the year.
Well, Fangraphs has the projection for the Dodgers winning 91 games, which gives them 40% chance of winning the division, 82% chance of making the playoffs. So I'm asking, do they really have to make a move? Is it imperative that they make a move, or should they just be happy with making the playoffs and then just seeing what happens with Kershaw down the line?
Well, it's tough because the Dodgers have the highest payroll in all of Major League Baseball, and we know that Magic Johnson and his people that own the team have deep pockets. So if they want to win, the window is now, because they don't have a super young team at the major league level. They have young pieces like Peterson and Seager, but Adrian Gonzalez and Chase Utley and Justin Turner, these guys are getting up there. Even Kershaw, even though he's still young for pitching, he now has back issues. Kenley Jansen might be a free agent. So, in baseball, it's a relatively small window that you have a chance to win. And if you feel that, you have the money, you want to win every year. So I understand where they're coming from. And there are good names on possibly available for trades. Sonny Gray with the Oakland A's, Julio Teheran with the Braves. Two teams that are really bad, that are looking to completely rebuild. So you could get those guys. You're going to have to give up, a decent amount of prospects. They're not going to want anybody with any kind of money attached to them because teams like that are rebuilding. But those are guys that, if you add to the fold, will help you. I'm all for always, if you think you're going to compete, why wait till next year? And that's the biggest thing, and that's the conundrum that the Yankees have been in all season is, we have some kids in the minors, but we have some older contracts and some guys that aren't really going to get us anything in return. So it's the waiting game. But the Dodgers have been pretty proactive in the past couple of years. So if they can go out and get really any of these guys that are currently floating around there in the atmosphere of, will they or won't they, they should. Because if the free agent, I guess, spending spree that'll happen in the offseason is not very good this year. It's actually really, really bad. Next year, 2017-18 is when some of the big names, and then the following season after that is huge with the Bryce Harpers of the world. So if you think you're going to compete this year and next year, I make a move now, because why wait till the offseason when there's not really that many great names available anyhow?
I'm sticking to it, Mets and Dodgers, and that on those wild card spots, but we'll see. Speaking of the Mets, though, before Mike pats himself on the back, Yoenis Cespedes wants to play left field instead of center field. One, because he's comfortable in that position, and two, he wants to protect his quadriceps, his alien quadriceps. But it causes a problem because then you have to juggle Michael Conforto, who's coming back from AAA after his hitting slump. Then you have Juan Lagares. And you have Diaz, and it's the same. Who would you put at center field? And Mike feels, I guess this is a conspiracy theory. I wouldn't call it a conspiracy theory, but Mike feels that maybe a trade can happen to fix this logjam. Mike is not a really huge fan of Curtis Granderson. Nope. So, we'll see what the Mets do, but I'll let Mike give you his conspiracy theory about what could happen before the trade deadline.
Well, we said this from the beginning of the year. At least I mentioned it. I did.
I mentioned it.
Well, I did because you think that the Cespedes can play, every position and all positions, but he can't. And obviously, there's a discourse in the Mets clubhouse because he doesn't want to play left. And the biggest thing is now is Cespedes has that opt out at the end of this year. And he's to put it bluntly, is not happy with the way the Mets have handled him because he's not a center fielder and his body is not used to the type of routes you have to play to go after the ball. It's a total different ball game from left to center. So he's going to take that opt out. To put it bluntly, he's going to take the opt out. He's going to get paid. Can the Mets re-sign him? Sure, why not? But it's the same thing in the NBA. If you have the opt-out, you're going to take it because you want to get more money. So he'll take the opt-out because now he's upset with the way the Mets have handled him. And I still have never been a big fan of Terry Collins and the way he manages his team. Can they put Juan Lagares in center? Well, he's probably your best option because he's your only true center fielder on the team. He doesn't hit much. I think he's about around 260, give or take. But if you want to play strong defensively, which pitching and defense wins you championships, and obviously the Mets have the pitching, then you put Lagares in center, and you figure out a platoon situation between Granderson and Conforto and Bright. Now, no, Conforto's not a right fielder by trade. He's a left fielder, but too bad. You have to put Cespedes in left until if and when he leaves next year. Conforto can't hit left-handed pitching at all, which unfortunately will be his downfall eventually. Granderson's hitting left-handed pitching better. He is signed for one more year. I don't worry about next year from the Mets right now. You're the defending National League champion. You need to get back to the promised land where you were last year. I know you just lost Matt Harvey, and there's question marks with Syndergaard and everyone else, but you have to at least do the best possible job you can of getting back and rewarding the fan base for sticking with you for so many years, especially this is the 30th anniversary of the 1986 Mets. So, you want to show that, hey, we're here to stay. So you put Granderson and Conforto in a platoon situation depending on who is pitching, right-handed, left-handed pitchers. Obviously, the smart move is to go out and get a center fielder. There's not a ton available. It's an interesting market. I mean, I don't think a guy like Brett Gardner, if the Yankees would even trade him, would help you that much. A guy like Puig, we already just talked about, and again, not a center fielder by trade. He might be able to play it. There's this Ian Desmond who was a shortstop, is playing center for Texas. So there's not a ton of options out there. We talked Matt Kemp a while ago, but even him, he is not a center fielder anymore because he doesn't have that speed and that lateral quickness. So if the Mets want to keep the pieces they have and they want to do something to get back into this race, because right now the Washington Nationals are running away with that division, and even the Marlins are playing as good as the Mets as anyone could have possibly understood before the season started. You have to put your best team out there, and you need to. If that doesn't work, then make some trades. But standing where they are right now, about a week and a half before the non-waiver trade deadline, just put your best team out there. And if you gotta pacify your star player Cespedes, then so be it. Because again, this is a guy that carried you last year, and around him the team's not hitting a whole lot. So if you want to get him jump started, put him in left field, let him do what he does. The other night he threw a guy out from left field. I mean, I don't understand what the problem is, but that's Terry Collins' job to lose.
Before Mike pats himself on the back any further, I'll just ask, did you watch the 30 for 30 with Dwight Gooden and Darryl Strawberry?
I did, because that was one of my, obviously I was 3 at the time, so that was one of my teams that I grew up, kind of watching, and I was only 3, but my dad put me in front of the TV, and, I loved that. I loved that 86 team, I did. Did you catch it?
You were 3, and I was about, 7 months?
Yeah, so you didn't watch it. Yeah.
I did catch it, and then I didn't know a lot of the story, obviously. I mean, my grandfather at the time, he would watch all the Met games, and I heard he was just ecstatic when that happened. It's just sad to see Darryl Strawberry and Dwight Gooden, the path they took. I mean, they seem okay now. What seemed a little troublesome at the end of the documentary, Dwight Gooden said, well, he can tell you that he's clean now, but he can't promise you that he'll be clean tomorrow. But he can promise you that if he does what he did today, tomorrow, that he'll be clean. That kind of worried me a bit, because it's so easy to slip back into bad habits. And I wish both of them the best. Darryl Strawberry seems to be doing a lot better for himself. He's got a new wife. He's in with the church, and he's trying to help other people with their issues. But you could see at the time when they were in their prime, it was such a short window. Like, they won that World Series, and then it just kind of fell apart right after. Like, a lot of people don't realize that Darryl Strawberry went to play for the Dodgers, and then Dwight Gooden and Darryl Strawberry reunited, and played for the Yankees, and that made my skin crawl a little bit. But they did. They reunited. They played with the Yankees. Steinbrenner gave them a chance, and it shows a different side of Steinbrenner that he was willing to give them a second opportunity or third opportunity in some cases to redeem themselves despite all the transgressions in their careers. But it was good seeing them together again. Chatting it up, chopping it up. But I wish them both the best going forward because they both went through rough pathways in their career.
They did, and the skeptics can look at it and say, these guys had it all, and they kind of blew it, and again, it's addiction. It's a total different beast. If you've never dealt with addiction yourself or been around somebody or cared for somebody that has it, you don't quite understand it. But yeah, these guys had everything that they could possibly want at a very young age in a major city, and it just became too much. And I actually got the chance to meet Doc Gooden as a kid, and he just seemed like a very humble guy, a nice guy, but whether it was peer pressure or just growing up in a tough neighborhood in Tampa, Florida, the demons got the best of him. And we do wish the best for them now, but you can just tell by watching the documentary that Dwight is frail, man. He just doesn't look healthy. So hope for the best for him. Obviously, who knows how good a guy could have been, the greatest right-handed pitcher of all time. I mean, they had all the tools, and it's sad if you're still a Met fan, you think what could have been. The Mets should have won 2-3 World Series championships, but I guess at the end of the day, you got to be glad that at least you got 1986 because again, they were 1 out away on that Mookie Wilson ground ball to Bill Buckner to losing that World Series. So, whether you call it fate or whether you call it, just divine intervention, the Mets won. So, but it was cool to watch. I love those 30 for 30 documentaries.
Yeah, that one was pretty good because it took me back to a time where I probably watched a lot of games, but I just wasn't aware of exactly what was going on and the magnitude and how good the Mets were at that time and how good they could have been had their two stars kept their heads in the game and stayed together. But again, we wish both Dwight Gooden and Darryl Strawberry the best going forward, and we hope they both stay clean and continue to help communities where they're from or just reach out to other people that may be going through the same problems. But we'll move on to a little bit of football. Ryan Fitzpatrick is selling his New Jersey home, and he hasn't been returning Brandon Marshall's text, which seems kind of a little scary to me. I mean, not to me, but for Fitzpatrick supporters or people who want Fitzpatrick starting for the Jets, it could be a sign that he's moving on. Now, he could be selling his home because he's getting a better home, or he could be selling his home because he doesn't think he's going to sign a contract and he doesn't have a reason to be in Jersey. But all in all, it could be Geno Smith time. Now,
No.
At first I was just like you, and I said, no, I don't want Geno Smith back in lineup. But then I thought about it, and I said, let's look at what Geno Smith had when he was the starting quarterback. He was a rookie. Remember, when he was a rookie, he beat the Patriots as a rookie. So, in the second year, when the whole thing fell apart, it wasn't just Geno Smith in 2004. It was the whole team. Rex Ryan knew that his job wasn't going to be had at the end of the year. He knew that he was going to be moving on in the offseason. John Idzik completely screwed that team from the secondary standpoint. They didn't have enough cornerbacks to defend in a pass-happy league. So that entire team was just in flux. So I think it was more than just Geno 2014. I think as he gets his third opportunity with Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker, 2 6-foot-tall plus wide receivers, he'll do a lot better in his third year because Fitzpatrick didn't do much before he got to the Jets. Before he got to the Jets, Fitzpatrick pretty much he earned one long-term deal with the Buffalo Bills, and he squandered it with another poor season. So Fitzpatrick didn't overnight just become a solid starter. He had a really good supporting cast. You had Chris Ivory there, as I mentioned. You had Decker, and you had Marshall. I would like to see what Geno Smith can do with those weapons to see if, I'm not saying he's going to take the team to 10-6, but I think he could do pretty good with that supporting cast in 2016.
Yep, 7-9. Real good. Real good.
Hater.
Yes, I am, because he's just not, I don't feel he's good enough to be a starting caliber NFL quarterback. And as a Jet fan, I hope he makes me eat my words. But I am not confident with going into the season as Geno Smith as my starting quarterback. There's nobody on the current roster of the Jets that anybody should feel confident about, because they haven't proven anything. And to be honest with you, I'd be lying if I said I was comfortable with Ryan Fitzpatrick last year, because it was Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he is a turnover machine, and that's unfortunately what he fell back on towards the end of the regular season last year, which is why the Jets didn't make the playoffs. So look, Ryan Fitzpatrick is playing a game that he's not going to win. I don't understand where he thinks he's going to get the money he thinks he's going to get, because there's nobody that needs a quarterback right now. Maybe he's waiting to see the regular season start or training camp breaks and somebody gets hurt, because it's inevitable, and all of a sudden he falls into a spot. But yeah, I don't know where that's going to happen. We won't know until if that does happen. But for whatever the reason, he got rid of his 9,000 square foot home, paying $9,000 a month. He's got like 9 kids, so he likes the number 9. Doesn't mean he's going to leave Jersey. He was only renting. Maybe he stays. Maybe he wants a bigger place. It's obviously not a good sign that he's not returning text. But, you know, he is a smart guy. Went to, Harvard. According to everybody in the NFL, doesn't need the money. He's got a lot of outside investments. So maybe he pulls an Adam LaRoche and he says he packs it in. He just doesn't want to play. I mean, who knows? Guys have different standards, and you can't pigeonhole him into, you know, the situation. But as far as the Jets are concerned, man, I don't know, because even listening to guys on the radio on the NFL Network the other day, they said that you have to expect a 30% drop-off in the offense the way if Geno Smith comes in. And it's true. Decker, you just don't know what you're going to get. Decker and Marshall were fantastic last year, and you bring in Matt Forte, and this is a team offensively and defensively that's ready to compete now. So putting in a Hackenberg or putting in a Bryce Petty, who I like, it doesn't make sense on paper. So you are stuck with Geno because he has played. And, you know, whether he's played good or bad, like the game he played against the Raiders where he came in was really good. But it hasn't been enough to sustain for someone to say, like, all right, yep, Jets are going to make the playoffs with Geno. Man, I hope so. But at the same time, I'd rather have Jay Cutler.
To me, Jay Cutler.
Bring in another Bear. We need another Chicago Bear.
No, we don't. We don't need Jay Cutler, okay? If any Chicago Bear we need Alshon Jeffrey, but that's a whole different story.
We need Gale Sayers, but, you know, that's okay.
I'm still in the Geno bandwagon. Not the Geno bandwagon, but I just don't think he's as bad as people. I mean, he got punched in the face, and he gets a lot of flack for that. But I think he's pretty much the same as Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick came in as the backup to Geno Smith last year. Yeah. The only reason Fitzpatrick got his opportunity is because Geno got punched in the face.
Best thing ever.
So to think that Ryan Fitzpatrick was the guy from the beginning is silly, because he was the backup anyway. Sure. So I think I don't think the Jets make the playoffs with either quarterback, because they have a brutal schedule. I believe 4 of their first 6 games against playoff teams, and they're on the road. Great. You got to play teams like Kansas City and Pittsburgh on the road. I don't know. You don't even get the New England Patriots without Brady. No. So even with either, unless they luck up and get another quarterback, the Jets are going to have a tough time getting to 10 games, let alone another postseason berth. But, well, I mean, we'll see. I think Fitzpatrick signs right before the second preseason game. I think he is going to wait to see if a quarterback goes down, and then he can kind of get some leverage back over the Jets to say, hey, I could be a fill-in over here and make decent amount of cash. But if no one gets hurt or no team is willing to reach out to a fill-in quarterback, then he either signs with the Jets or he goes back and he plays with his kids, because it's just not going to happen anywhere else. But if you think about it, let's say the Jets actually do well because their defense, because they did sign Muhammad Wilkerson to a long-term deal. Uh-huh. Let's say the defense does carry them. They do have a chance, but they just need someone who's serviceable. They don't need a grade A quarterback. They need a decent quarterback, because your boy Peyton Manning did it without an arm last year.
Ramen noodles.
Geno Smith this year should be better than Peyton Manning last year. So as long as you have a pretty good defense, you're fine.
So you just compared Noodle Arm to being a little worse than Geno Smith this year. Oh my goodness!
Yes. Yeah. Would you like to refute that statement? Would you rather have Geno Smith or Peyton Manning without an arm?
But Peyton Manning's physical issues are bad, but he has
the biggest brain in the game.
Exactly, he does. He was smart. He was smart. He knew to rely on the defense and to rely on the running game. And if the Jets have 3 very good running backs, I pound the ball 40 times if I have to with Geno Smith, and I do the old Tim Tebow throw the ball 10 times a game, because I just don't trust him to drive down the field consistently. But again, it's possible. Anything is possible. Kevin Garnett said it best. Everything is possible. But you cannot start the season thinking that Geno Smith will lead you to the playoffs, even though we all hope that is what is possible, because it's a major drop off in what was accomplished last year. That is all.
If Geno Smith starts this year, which I don't think he does, I think Fitzpatrick eventually steps in. If he starts this year, I'm going to be rooting for him so hard to have all you people eat crow, because then you'll be like, oh, yeah, we all know Geno Smith was great.
No, I won't say that.
We all knew Geno Smith could do it. I'm like, shut up. No, you didn't.
I won't say that.
I was the only guy on the Geno Smith bandwagon.
Yes, because you attach yourself to these rum-dum players that you feel like, oh, well, Evan Turner, my best friend. Let's ride him to the promised land. Now it's Geno Smith's turn.
Listen, first of all, Evan Turner is pretty good.
Oh,
yeah, he's pretty good now.
Yeah, now him and his
Second of all, I just don't like to see people get picked on to the point beyond reasonable. Beyond reasonable doubt. Let Geno Smith at least play. Let him get on the field, and let's see if he made improvements. Because if you remember last offseason, they were saying that he showed improvements on the practice field. He wasn't throwing picks. He was pretty good. He just had an incident off the field, and that cost him his season, unfortunately. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But we'll move on to more NFL, more sports rule tweaks.
Yeah.
The NFL may tinker with the field goal post, shrinking it from 18 feet 6 inches to 14 feet. The NFL actually experimented with this during the 2015 Pro Bowl. Adam Vinatieri missed a 38-yard field goal and then 2 35-yard extra point kicks. Now, I say this is damaging to the kickers, because now you're going to have players saying, oh, if a kicker misses a kick, oh, stupid kicker, he's not an athlete. Why do we even have kickers? We should just go for 2 points. Now, head coaches now are going for 2 points more often. The Steelers said they were willing to go for 2 points all the time. That's Mike Tomlin.
Love it.
And Ben Roethlisberger was even co-signing, saying, yeah, we'll go for 2 points. And I feel this is what the NFL wants. They want more uncertainty, because back when we had the extra point, and what did you do when the team scored a touchdown, they lined up for the extra point? You went to the refrigerator. You went and called your girlfriend. You stepped out. You did anything else but watch the extra point. So the NFL wants you to watch after the team scores a touchdown. And I think this could accomplish that, but I don't like the idea of shrinking the field goal post, because again, it puts kickers in a very tough position. They're already in a tough position where they're not looked at as athletes. If you want to make the extra point hard, just take it away and just force all teams to go for 2 points if that's the case. But that's just my opinion.
Does nobody remember the cautionary tale of Ray Finkel? You see, Mo doesn't watch movies, so he wouldn't get my movie reference. Ray Finkel and Einhorn and Finkel. Mo, that's the Ace Ventura. Jim Carrey. Have you ever seen Ace Ventura?
I remember that.
Oh yeah, I don't believe you. Anyway, what is this going to come to? Is this going to come to like arena football, where there's a net behind the guy and you can return it if he misses like an extra point? Like it's getting absurd. The kicker's job. It looks easy on TV. I guarantee you it's not that simple. And there's enough pressure on these guys as it is. Go out there. Try to kick a football. You will probably break every toe on your foot. It is not that simple, okay? I just don't understand. Like, it's a minor part of the game, but on paper, but it's so important to the bottom line. Teams lose games because they've missed field goals. They miss extra points. What was it? Yeah, exactly. Scott Norwood, Buffalo Bills. There are so many instances of you miss a field goal, you blow your team's chances. So you don't give these guys much credit, but then when you need them, you better make them field goal. And that's why a guy like Vinatieri, who's 65 years old, is still in the league, because he continues to be consistent. No, he probably can't kick it further than, 48 yards anymore, but anything within that, he's money. So you want to change the game? Is it? I don't know. Is this for the sake of changing the game? Probably. According to the report, they're going to put microchips in the footballs in training camp and preseason games to figure out exactly the percentage of. I don't even know. They're just going to put them in there to figure out if this is a necessary evil or not. Which, again, leave it alone. Like, I understand the concussions and they're talking about it now in the NCAA, taking away kickoffs and giving the ball to the players at the 20-yard line. Again, changes the game completely, but I understand that rationale about it. We're trying to save the head-on collisions full speed. I get that, but changing the goalpost. Then let's just do away with field goal kickers altogether.
Yeah, and that's because again, that's going to marginalize them, because they're already. Most kickoffs now are touchback, so you're taking it from the 20 anyway. To me, I say if you want to make extra point kicks interesting, move it to the 43. Make it a 43-yard kick, because that's, I believe, at that point after 40 yards, you start to see more misses from kickers. You start to see more block kicks. So again, the NFL, they're trying to make that extra point interesting. They want you to watch. They want you to watch every single stinking minute of the game. So they're trying to make that interesting. And I think, again, a 43-yard kick would make it interesting. It's a 33-yard kick now. Still, 93% of kickers converted on extra points. So they're looking for something maybe in the 75% range to again make the game interesting. But again, I say if you're going to do all of that and move kicks and shrink goalposts, just make everyone go for two, because you're already taking away kickoffs, so that kickers will have to use their leg for those. And just make it a longer kick, or just go for two. One point for the long kick, 2 points to go for two, obviously. And you fix the whole problem. Instead of adding microchips and shrinking this and expanding that, I don't know. It just is unnecessary, but the NFL is going to do what they can do to make the game interesting. But they already have a good product. It's all about safety now, and this is obviously not a safety issue. It's just the NFL being greedy and trying to make the game a lot better than what it already is.
Thank you, Roger Goodell. You've ruined another fantastic.
Why are you hating on Roger Goodell?
Did you see the movie Concussion? Did you see what he did to Will Smith?
Oh, gosh.
Exactly.
No,
you don't even.
I did.
Because you don't watch movies. You don't like cinema.
Yeah, because I'm busy out here running businesses. That's why. Once I'm making $1 million, I will have a movie theater in my home, and I'll watch all the movies I can watch at that point. But until then,
I don't believe that.
I'm a grinder. I'm sorry for being a hard worker, Mike. I'm
not like
sipping lemonade on the beach.
The world's tiniest violin plays for you, Maurice.
What's that?
I said the world's tiny. Never mind. All right, let's get into NCAA and the talk of expansion, especially in the Big 12. If you know, the Big 12 doesn't have a conference championship game. Hasn't ever. Looking to add a couple of teams to the fold. Big 12 has lost a couple of teams over the past couple of seasons. It's been in flux. They lost Nebraska. They've lost Colorado. These are pretty good teams, pretty solid in their approach. West Virginia, obviously, these teams have bounced around a lot. So now there's about 4 or 5 different teams on the docket, potentially bringing them in.
You notice one team on that list, Mike? Are you familiar with one school, I should say, on that list?
I mean, I'm familiar with one, but I'm sure if I talk about them, you're gonna get mad.
No, go ahead, because I know you wanted to, so you might as well. Go ahead.
No. This is all you. I'm gonna wait to bash you if you don't talk about them yourself. So go ahead.
Well, one of the teams that could be joining the Big 12 is UCF.
Yeah.
Which Mike loves because his fiance is alumni of the school, so I'm sure Mike is on board for UCF joining the Big 12. But also, there's a better choice to join the Big 12. That's BYU, because they have a great program. Their academia is pretty good. 9-4, 10-3, 10-3, 10-3, 8-5 in the last 5 years as an independent. It came from the Mountain West Conference. So I think BYU should be the top choice. I'm sorry, UCF. I'm sorry, Mike and his fiance. UCF is probably a cool school, but BYU fits from a competitive and an academic standpoint.
Yeah, well, I mean, how many teams are we talking about? Are we going to allow 1 in? Are we allowing 2, 4? Because obviously, the more teams we allow in, then we have to go to conferences like we have in the SEC and like we have in almost every division. So, which that means is then you have to play a conference championship game, which again will bring more revenue, but it's going to change the dynamics of the season. Obviously, BYU was once a proud, great school, football school. We're talking Ty Detmer, Steve Young. I mean, great players have come out of there. Another team, Houston. Yeah, Houston was great last year, 13-1. But I mean, how long have they sustained? It's only been over the past 5 years that they've been kind of relevant in terms of football. And it's tough to compare them because you compare them to a school like the University of Central Florida, where 2 years ago Blake Bortles, third overall pick in the NFL draft, led this team to a Fiesta Bowl win over Baylor, Bryce Petty and Baylor. So a team that went 11-1. Now I know last year for UCF was a horrible season. Actually, did not win a game, but it was a team in flux. So they did bring in Oregon's offensive coordinator Scott Frost to be their head coach. So hopefully that brings a renewed optimism to the school. But as far as stop it. Hopefully, I mean UCF is the second largest student body in the nation behind Arizona State. They have the money. They have a practically a brand new stadium on campus. Now it only does hold around 36,000, but the way it was built, there was always that probable palpitation that they could add 30,000 more seats because if they were to ever get an invitation from a conference like the Big 12. So that's not a problem. So it really just comes down to the market. You know, obviously Houston is a big city. I mean, Brigham Young. Do you want a team playing out there in the Ozarks? I don't know, but it just really depends on how many schools you're looking to add. Connecticut, you know, if we're talking basketball, sure. Memphis, same thing. Colorado State, meh. I mean, Cincinnati, you know, bring me Kenyon Martin. It's tough to say, but regardless, it's going to be about the money. It's going to be about the school that's going to bring in, the biggest TV deal, the biggest ticket draws on Saturdays or Thursday nights or whenever they're playing. And I know being around the UCF student body or the campus, which is only 5 miles from where I live, they pack them in every Saturday, whether the team is 0-16 or 11-1 or 4-4 or whatever you want to say the record is at the time. They do pack them in because college is a business. And if you think it's not, then good luck to you.
Well, I was just looking at Indeed.com at the job market, and it seems that UCF is looking for a new athletic director. Would you like to apply, Mike? Because you spent a good amount of time supporting UCF joining the Big 12. So maybe that job is perfect for you because you could just send this tape in, this show as an audition.
I really could.
To be the AD there if you want.
I would love to, and I would make you my assistant / coffee boy, and I think it would be absolutely great for the both of us. No, I mean, look, George O'Leary was the head coach of the football team, and he was also the athletic director, and he had a great run, but all good things must come to an end. So it's a school on the up. Unfortunately, their football team didn't stay where it was. Blake Bortles did some great things for the school, but it did at least put them in the national conversation. Should a team like Houston or BYU be placed in the division before UCF? Yes, if you go on what the football team has done in the past, notwithstanding that Fiesta Bowl win, then yeah, sure. Obviously, they have more of a pedigree. But if you want to put all those other things into the equation, like I said, with money, and that's really at the end of the day what the NCAA is concerned about, then you have to put UCF into the conversation. Again, will it affect more than just football? Yeah, I mean it should. Again, it's going to affect all sports. Unless you're a school like Notre Dame, which can kind of pick and choose where they want to play, ACC in basketball, but independent in football. It'll be interesting to see.
You do know the first day as your assistant, I'm spilling hot coffee all over you, right? And then I'm taking over your job and leading UCF to prominence. Just putting that out there, by the way.
Hey, whatever it takes.
But we are going to talk. We're going to wrap it up, and we're going to talk about two things that Mike could not wait to talk about, and that's the Jacksonville Jaguars and Pokemon.
The wrap-up.
And the moment you all have been waiting for. This is the Pokemon segment for all you Pokemon Go players. Yes. And apparently, the Jacksonville Jaguars have embraced the world's biggest craze at the moment. Pokemon Go Night will be at Everbank Field, which is Jaguar Stadium, July 25th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The stadium will feature Pokestops and gyms for players who are interested in playing. Now, I will say this. Before I ask Mike, does he play Pokemon? Which he probably doesn't because he's probably too cool to play Pokemon. Yep. I will say that when I was growing up, Pokemon was one of the best things in the world. I had the red version. I had the blue version. I had the yellow version. I had the silver version. I had the gold version. I had the rainbow version. It was great. I'll say that. What I will also say is I have a Pokemon story. I was at Best Buy yesterday. I was buying a wireless mouse, and a guy came up to an older woman, and he said, "Do you know what I'm playing?" And she was like, "What?" And she was kind of interested in what he was playing because he seemed enthused about it. He was like, "Yeah, I'm playing Pokemon, and there's a Pidgeot right behind you, and I'm trying to catch it. Could you please just scoot over?" And I had to laugh because it is really taking over everywhere, from Brooklyn to Orlando. It's probably in Canada, Mexico, it's China. I'm sure it's in China, because a lot of these games come out, and actually Japan, I should say. Games come out there, and then they come to North America, and we play it here, and it's part of the craze. I like it because people actually get up off their butt and they go catch Pokemon. So there's a little bit of cardio in there, a low grade cardio, but it's still cardio. And people get to have fun, and it's a little bit of nostalgia for people my age. Mike's age too, but I'm sure he's going to probably deny playing Pokemon because he was probably out playing baseball, softball with his buddies. But we'll let him tell it. Mike, do you play Pokemon Go? And if not, you probably should be playing.
No, because I have friends.
See, it only takes a couple words. He takes a shot at all Pokemon Go players, as if all Pokemon Go players are nerds who don't have friends, stay locked in their room, and collect cards all day, which is not the truth. But go ahead, Mike.
No, they now walk around and fall off of bluffs in California, or, do other ridiculous things. I mean, look, I'm all for people exercising. I'm all for people having fun, being united by something. I think it's great. But yeah, it's not for me. I never was into Pokemon. I don't know. I don't even remember when it originally came out. I guess I was just on that cusp of not being a Pokemon player because, like you said, I played sports. And had friends and played PlayStation like that. I'd rather play PlayStation or play fantasy sports if I'm going to do something like, that's basically entertainment. It's not a constructive activity as far as it's not going to help me in my life any, but I'm all for people having fun, as long as it's not hurting others, or, you're doing it while driving or on other stupid, things that you shouldn't be doing. But yeah, if you're looking to kill time, I mean, people talk about this like it's just, who did you catch? I went to a gym. I gave somebody raspberries and snozberries, and I'm just like, what? Like, it's another language. I mean, I went out to dinner the other night, and there's 6 of us, and 4 people were talking about it, and me and the other person were just like, what the hell are you people talking about? But it united the conversation for the most part. So good for you guys. Enjoy yourselves. It's gonna go the way of Candy Crush. A month from now, no one's gonna be talking about this because, again, I was, the little bit I know about it is like there's 150 Pokemon to catch, and eventually, you gotta buy things, and it is money that, obviously there's a money angle to this, and they'll add Pokemon as the game continues to go on. And actually, I found out I didn't know. The layout of this game was an older game that's been around for years. So what Nintendo did is they just took the layout of the game, which is a GPS type of thing, and they put their Pokemon characters into it. And FYI, Google is stealing all your information, so best of luck with that. Yeah, but no, I won't get too deep with the conspiracy theory. But my question is, when you were saying like red virgin, blue virgin, are you still a virgin, and are you playing this game?
Number 1 is blue version.
Oh, sorry.
As in installment, not virgin as in never had sex before. But we won't get into my sexcapades on the air. But I will say something else here is Pokemon became popular when I was about, I would say, 6th grade. So I was about 11 years old. So yeah, when I was at the lunch table, that was the thing. It was either Pokemon, Uno, or chess. Okay, what? I was an intellectual.
Where did you go to school? Hogwarts? Like, I don't. What did you? What?
Listen, IS 318, greatest junior high school in Brooklyn, is for intellects. It breeds a lot of smart people in this world who are probably running businesses right now, like me, and. It's a great school. We had great experiences. We bonded over things like that. And when you're 11 years old, you don't have much to do, because when I was 11, Mike was probably 14, chasing girls. I don't know what he was doing. Again, he was too cool to play Uno, too cool to play chess, too cool to play Pokemon. But that's okay, because you know why? People of all walks of life. The cool people are playing Pokemon. The non-cool people are playing it. The nerds are playing it. The jocks are playing it. Because NFL players have also been spotted trying to catch Pokemon. So, Mike, if you're too cool, then that's fine. We understand you're on your own level. You're Mr. I'm too good for this. Yep. That's fine, because we will still have Pokemon. And for all those people that are saying that, it's used to track your whereabouts, how about all the other 55 apps you have on your phone that says, would you like to allow your location? What do you think that does when you're walking around and you're at the pizza shop? It's tracking you. When you used to use Foursquare, that stuff, all of those things track you. So it's not just Pokemon, it's any other app. People are using that excuse to hate on a great game, and they need to stop it. Just stop it.
Haters gonna hate. Player's gonna play. Look, just turn off the camera, all right? At least turn off the camera so that the people at Gmail and Google aren't like looking at your every thing that you do. I mean, even there was a picture of Mark Zuckerberg like a month ago, and he at the Facebook studios, wherever it is in California, and he had the camera on his computer with a piece of tape over it. Even this man who invented Facebook knows that people are watching your every move, so just be careful. That's all I'm saying, is that just don't be naive. Turn off those settings that say you can be tracked, because you know what, it's a game, it's fun, but I'm sure that there's more to it, you know, not trying to be diabolical, but there's always an underhanded, you know, storyline that, you know, why is this game free? Why is it so popular? Yeah, well, there's usually a reason. So just be careful. Don't drive in Pokemon. Don't walk over dangerous things in Pokemon. And you know what? Just, you know, Mo, just try some speed dating. You know, just do something different, man. I mean, you know, get out there, experience life.
But my social life is just fine. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I can play Pokemon 30 minutes a day and still be okay socially.
Right.
But Mike, got a question for you. Since it is a Jaguar Stadium, you gonna drive down and catch yourself a Pikachu or something? No.
I wouldn't drive down to Publix, which is a grocery store in Florida, for a Pikachu. I mean, I mean, look, I will say this. There's a lot of businesses that are making a killing from this. I mean, there was a thing, again, I was out yesterday, people are talking about, oh, if I catch this certain amount of thing, a business will give me a free meal. So it's great in that regard. I mean, it's basically, I guess, businesses can call up and they can talk to the people at Nintendo or whoever's who's distributing this thing and say, can you put, I'm learning too much. Can you put a lure in my area? Can you make people like flock to me? And it works, and businesses are making money, so it's smart. It's great advertising. I just wonder, I wonder what the end game is for the people that you know, have developed and launched this game. And one thing I did read, which was really cool, is that even the guy that developed Pokemon years ago is a gentleman with autism. So, you know, that's awesome. I mean, that is super cool. You know, my fiance works with a lot of special needs clients, so that is just, I've been around it, been exposed to it, so that's amazing. So, you know, don't take anything away from that. But yeah, I want to see where it's going to go. You know, this could be, again, Nintendo is actually supposed to be coming into Universal Studios theme parks in the coming years. So again, this could just be a precursor to many different things and a lot more money that is going to be made by the people that own, you know, the rights to this game. So good for everybody. I'm glad. It's not for me. I'm not going to bash it, but you know what? Just do you, as long as everybody's safe and has a good time. And no, I will not drive to Jacksonville because it's Jacksonville. And the Jaguars have bigger problems than worrying about Pokemon on the field.
It's only 2 hours, Mike. It's only a 2-hour experience. Pokemon Safari, 2 hours.
Yeah, well, it was at like SeaWorld the other day too, and I wasn't gonna drive to SeaWorld, and that's only like 35 minutes from where I live. So I'm good. You know, I don't like crowds. I'm good.
So if you're keeping score, Mike is too cool and too lazy. So that's two things that just don't mix with Pokemon very well.
I don't want that. I'm building my empire, as Maurice Moten always says. So
yeah.
Look, it's the baseball time of year. It's the good stuff. We're getting into the trade deadline. We're getting into training camps in the NFL. I'm going to be watching Hard Knocks on HBO, featuring the Los Angeles Rams. If anybody's ever watched it, it's a great documentary. A lot of fun. What is it? 4 parts? I think it's 6 parts, something like that. But yeah, come on. NFL's getting started. Baseball's getting to the best part. We got the Rio Summer Olympics coming up. We're gonna talk a lot of Zika virus in the next couple weeks. It's gonna be an exciting time. So yeah, I'm all about sports right now. I'm all about, you know, I got a film that may be going into the New York TV Film Festival. So, you know, keep it locked on that. You know, I'm trying a bunch of different things here.
Mike is trying to give you all the excuses why he doesn't have 25 minutes to go outside and catch a gas.
It's too hot. It's 900 degrees out, and I do not want to walk around when it's all hot out.
You have a lot of complaints. Too lazy, too cool, it's too hot.
I'm just keeping it real, baby. Keeping it 100.
What do you do on your free time that satisfies you, that doesn't make you aggravated about something? What are you doing with your free time?
Remember Seriously. I'm not part of the Red Virgin team, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Mike, TMI. TM to the I. Really. Seriously.
Hey, you know what? It is what it is. It's not for everybody. I'd rather play softball with my friends or watch a game or write some articles, make a screenplay, whatever. But regardless, you guys need to go on Facebook. You need to go on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. Just type in Mike and Mo Show. You need to follow, share, tweet, like, whatever. It's we're continuing to do the show. Episode 23 is almost in the books. We're having a lot of fun. We want to keep spreading the good word. We do have the YouTube channel up and running right now, so there's no excuses if you can't listen to the podcast on iTunes or Google Play or one of the 900 other avenues. Go on YouTube. Other than that, we also launched the brand new Ask Mike and Mo page where you can go to mentalitymedia.com/podcast. Send us a question. Laura from Indiana actually had one. She wants to get cracking on a Mike and Mo fantasy football league. So if you're interested in that, drop us a line. We may just do that, and I will have to wipe the floor with everyone that comes and plays because I am a fantasy football god.
You are not. First of all,
I am
playing fantasy football.
Oh, since before you were born, before you were conceived. No, I've probably been playing since like 2000. I mean, honestly.
So you come from the Yahoo Sports days?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I played baseball, basketball, football. I even played hockey back in the day on Yahoo. I will never do that again, but yeah.
I will let you know, Mike, that I win at least one league every year, and I'm just going to have to make it our league if we do create one, which we will. Yeah. I'm sure we will create one because we had an NCAA tournament. We will have an NFL Fantasy Football League that'll be up soon, and I will win again. And I'm sorry, Mike, if you don't even qualify for the playoffs.
Wow. Baloney. Look, you have to play in a league with more than just yourself, so first of all, so your chances of winning are diminished right there. But yeah, I already know that you're gonna take, you're gonna probably start off with a kicker in the first round, then maybe you'll take a tight end. You'll definitely go to defense in the top 3. So
Maybe I'll take Geno Smith.
Yeah, I bet you. You know what? You should have to take Geno Smith, and if Evan Turner was a football player, you should have to take him too. Because
well, Laura should take all Ohio State players if she's gonna play in that league.
She can't because they're all in prison, so she can't.
Whoa.
Oh, that's right. Clack clack.
Mike is firing shots at everybody. He's getting hot over here. So
hey, that's what
I think it was Pokemon segment that got him revved up. But
instead of playing Pokemon, I like to take shots at people because you know what? It's fun. It's really fun.
But before we go off air, I just want to pay respects to Dennis Green's family. If you don't remember who Dennis Green is, he was a former Vikings and Cardinals head coach. He was the guy who went to the podium and said, "They are who we thought they were." Mm-hmm. He's that guy. He passed away this morning due to a cardiac arrest. So just respects to his family. People know him for that quote at the podium, but he was also a very good head coach in his day.
Absolutely. Rest in peace. It's such a young man, still 67 years old. I mean, it's unfortunate, again, we don't know the type of health conditions he was in before passing, but, we obviously pray for his family and, time like this. And, great coach, had some wonderful players, those Randy Moss years, Dante Culpepper, and then later with, the Arizona Cardinals. So rest in peace, Coach. And, that's about it for episode 23. Like we said, hit us up on social media, Mike and Mo Show, pretty much any platform you've got. Listen to the show, tell your friends, get ready for the Mike and Mo Show Fantasy Football League. It's going to be fun. Probably like a $1,500 buy-in, so make sure you get your money ready for me to take.
Or you could just give it over to Mo Money, Mo Buckets, because I'm going to win the league anyway.
But he doesn't need any money because he's already got like 12 businesses, including a hot dog stand and an ice truck that patrols Williamsburg, Bed-Stuy. Yeah, doing big things. But until next week, is Mike Calandrillo, that guy, Maurice Moulton, and we'll catch you on the flip.